Hello, welcome to the channel. There's a lady here that I was following, and she tells you how to get ready to travel to China. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and start her video and see what's going on. So she tells you what to do. So let's listen in on this one.
Well, hard to believe that it has been a whole month of traveling China, but here we are. I am in my last destination here on the rooftops of Lijiang. Absolutely beautiful. And as promised, I wanted to do a culmination sort of video with all of my top tips for anyone who is thinking of visiting China for the first time, because it's not so simple. For most people.
And it's not so simple. It's not just hop on a plane and go to China, because you got to have a lot of stuff ready to go. So she's going to give us some word on that. And you know what? Let's just do it, because I can't wait to go. What about you?
Well, this is not the kind of destination you can just decide to go to tomorrow, and there's a lot of different procedures that you need to keep in mind that aren't the same in most parts of the world. Let's just jump straight into our list, which number one is almost everyone will need a visa. So unless you're from Armenia, Belarus, Barbados, and apparently Singapore and Thailand, starting early this year, you will need a visa. And when I say visa, I mean like a 30 to 60 day tourist visa. There is, of course, the option for Canadians, Americans, a lot of Europeans, for the 144-hour transit visa, where you can see a single province and be in the country for that length of time. Personally, that's not long enough for me. I would prefer to have adequate amount of time to explore.
That is exactly what I think too. And you know what? Because when I go over there, there's so much to see. Because China is a big place. Let alone just getting on one of those trains and going home. Like, I can't wait.
Explore such a big country. So when I say visa, that's the kind that I'm referring to. And I won't lie, it is quite a process. It did take me almost a whole week to really prepare everything, because you need to get your round-trip airfare before you apply. You need to book all of your accommodation, and there's a whole bunch of paperwork that you need to do, both online and also printing off the hard copies. And then
Okay, I'm giving you time to write that all down before we keep going, because a lot of you need to write it down before you get it, or just go back into the video and just listen to it again. But get ready.
And I had to go for an in-person interview at the Bangkok location. Maybe it would be slightly different depending on the country you're applying from, but just expect that it's going to be a process, and you should be applying at least a month in advance. Now, number two, the second very important thing that you need to do before you also leave China is to set up WeChat and Alipay. Many of you may know that China is more or less a cashless society now, and they
Is that amazing? Cashless society. Cashless. That means, why you hold me up? Why you got a gun at my face? Because I can't give you no money. We don't even use money anymore. Amazing, isn't it?
do have their own digital platforms, Alipay and WeChat, as the main forms of payment. But the thing is, you need a phone number to properly verify the apps, so make sure you set it up when you are still in your home country and are able to receive a text message. Then you just add your credit card details into the app, and you are able to have a QR code that you pay for everything with. Now, my third tip is to purchase an eSIM before you go. If you saw my arrival video into Guangzhou, you will know how grateful I am to Airlo for giving me data as soon as I landed. So they are very kindly the sponsor of today's video, and how I would say is the easiest and most efficient way to access data in China. Data roaming can be extremely expensive when you are traveling, and especially if you are going to a lot of different countries. Airlo provides instant and affordable connectivity in over 200 countries and regions. And what I especially especially love about Airlo and why I think it should be your top choice when traveling China especially, is that it negates the need for a VPN. I assume most of you know that Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Google, all of that is blocked on regular Chinese internet. So if you want to access those sites, usually you would need to use a VPN. Luckily, with Airlo, the server is in another country so that when you land, it doesn't actually pin you as in China, but outside. Being trusted by more than 10 million travelers worldwide, Airlo is the world's first eSIM store that solves the pain of high roaming bills by giving you access to a wide range of digital SIM cards.
So this is what you're going to have to do to load this on. You got to get this loaded on your phone and get ready to go, because you want to be ready, because you don't want to go over there messing around in somebody else's country, because they might just say, you know, we get back on the plane, you leaving. It's like, I just took all that time, get in here.
So if you want a streamlined way of staying connected on your next trip, I'm going to have the link in the description as well as a QR code so you guys can easily sign up for Airlo. And I also have a discount code of Alina3 to give you $3 off your next eSIM. Now, point number 4 is to book your train tickets well ahead of time. This was a lesson that I almost had to learn the hard way, where one of my routes was almost sold out before I was going to leave. What's most important to know is that train tickets in China go live 2 weeks before the departure date. I found it a bit difficult to book on the official railway website, but you can easily book on trip.com. And while you can sort of reserve seats more than 2 weeks ahead of time, I tried doing that, didn't have any luck. I found the best way was to purchase as soon as they went live, right at that 2-week mark. Because if you leave it just a few days in advance and you're going to a destination that doesn't have as much coverage, or if you're going in a more busy time, it could be completely sold out. And speaking of booking things, point number 5, I would greatly recommend that you book all of your accommodation as well as the train tickets on trip.com. Trip.com is a Chinese company, and I find they have way more selection than any other platform like booking.com or Agoda. There's also a lot more reviews on trip.com about different accommodations. That's where I booked the majority of mine. Trip.com also has a lot of really helpful guides about China for foreign travelers like myself. So if you're looking for good information about how to get around, I actually found that a really good resource. Now, point number 6, I do.
Okay, that's a good thing, because you know what? Here's what I don't want to do. I really don't want to go over there and get on one of these things and end up somewhere I don't want to be. Although they do have a lot of signs in English, and that's one of the good things about that, because you know, all the time I think about going places, and I just want to go here, because here's another train that they have. Have you ever seen something like this? Now tell me, you don't want to go and really see that train going in that building? I can't wait to see that train going in that building. You know, and where is it at? This is the city that it's in. I can't speak Chinese, so I can't pronounce it. I don't even want to try and mess it up. All right, but that's where it is. I mean, you can look it up on Google Maps and find it. But anyway, what I'm saying is, don't you want to do something like that? Look at that. That's amazing. But I don't want to get on one of these high-speed trains and end up somewhere else. I don't want to do that. Oh, shoot. Let's get her back out here.
Do feel I have to add in here, because I assume most people traveling for a longer period of time will want to bring a computer or use a lot of data. So in that case, download a VPN before you go. Some people say you can download a VPN once you're already in China, but it's a heck of a lot more difficult. So if you are going to need a lot of data and use public Wi-Fi, make sure you download a good VPN that actually works in China. You guys know that I'm a big fan of Surfshark. That is what I use everywhere else when I travel, but unfortunately it didn't work everywhere.
Wow.
And that's unfortunately the case with a lot of VPNs. Like, I would say the majority of VPNs that work elsewhere don't work in China. So before I left left, I asked some of my local friends which ones they use, and I downloaded like 4 of them before I left. And the one that worked best for me, basically in every single place I visited, was Let's VPN. Now, I can't personally speak on the safety of it, just because it is a smaller sort of company. I really don't know all the back end of it. Personally, I would prefer to be using Surfshark, but Let's VPN was the only one that worked 100% of the time for me. So if you guys want a recommendation, that would be.
So here we go again. Make sure you take these notes down or go back and watch the video again. But make sure you take these notes down so you can get yourself ready. Because you know, it's nothing like having an operation when you get in here and you're going to travel and everything is checked off and you just walk on in, take care of this, show that, and you're good to go. And don't forget your passport, because it is out of the country, okay? Don't forget your passport.
Mine. Point number 7 is to make sure you have a good translation app on your phone. I assume many of you know that China is not the most English-friendly country. It doesn't receive that much tourism from abroad. Most of their tourism is local. So it is a bit difficult as an English speaker to get around. Of course, I would recommend learning some Mandarin if you can, but unless you speak fluently, I would really recommend having a good translation app like Google Translate, or even Alipay has a pretty good built-in translation app. There's a lot of different ones to choose from. Just make sure you have one before you arrive. Point number 8 makes me a little bit sad to suggest, but it's the best there is. Which is to use Apple Maps to get around. I've stated many times my distaste of Apple Maps in comparison to Google Maps, but unfortunately Google Maps is more or less useless here. There's really not.
Okay, that's because they block Google itself. Since they block Google, anything that has to do with Google, they're going to block it. Apple Maps is because mostly all of them over there got Apple phones. So that's basically why they're probably running all that.
A lot on there, because obviously Google is blocked for the locals here. The local maps that they have here, like Baidu, I personally found it next to impossible to use because it is all in Mandarin, and doing the whole screenshot thing to translate, I feel like that's way too much effort. So overall, I guess Apple Maps is the best option that English speakers have, and you will absolutely need it. Like, you will need a good map to.
You need a good map, because if you really, once you start watching videos of China, there's so many places to go and so many ways to get there. You need to know how to get back to where you started. Because once you get started and you get down there and you get on one of those trains, whoo, 100 miles an hour, in an hour you're 100 miles away from where you were. And it's in a country you don't know, so you got to get something.
Help you get around. Number 9, speaking of transport, I would personally recommend using Didi, which is their version of Uber, you could say, as well as public transit to get around. At first I had some issues with using Didi, but that's because I didn't know that you can just go into trip.com and like copy the address in Chinese characters and then post it directly into Didi. That's all.
Did you catch that? Trip.com. Go ahead. Copy the address, even though it's in Mandarin or Chinese, whatever they want to say, or whatever it's in, and put it in Didi, and it will translate it for you in there.
Solved a lot of problems.
Works.
But it does, of course, take English names as well. Just not everything is listed in English. And as far as public transit goes, overall, it is fairly easy to use because a lot of the signs, at least in the big city metros, are also in English. And how you know where you're supposed to go is to use Apple Maps and to click the public transport directions. It will automatically tell you which line, where you switch, all of those details. That is all in Apple Maps. And also remember that in Alipay, you are able to get your metro public transport tickets all directly in there as well.
Wow.
It will automatically know which city you are in, and you just scan the QR code going in and going out. It automatically calculates your fare and deducts it from your Alipay. A very smart system, to be honest.
Isn't that just amazing? That's just amazing. You just put everything in your phone, and next thing you know, you just go scan it, scan it, scan it. You done paid for it, you done took care of it, and it's gonna tell you where to go. And you look up, oh, okay, so here comes my train. I gotta get on that train. Scan it, and you're good to go, and paid for it.
And number 10, this one won't apply to everybody, but I feel it's important to mention, which is that anyone who has any sort of food restrictions or food allergies, you may find China as a challenging destination. Unless you're going to Beijing, Shanghai, I guess Guangzhou was okay, where you can find a lot more Western options and you can kind of customize things a bit more. If you go to these smaller sorts of centers.
Okay, sort of got to stop it there, because I'm telling you, if you're going to another country, don't think it's like the one you came from. This Western country that we live in, there's nothing like it anywhere but right here. Over in those other countries, they have their own culture. Don't go over there trying to take your culture over there and try and just mess them around with it, okay? You got to go over there and respect their culture. Just as you would want them to come over here and respect our culture, okay? Which we got so many cultures mixed up, you can't even tell which one is the real culture, all right? But anyway, don't go over there taking your culture and your nastiness of your culture over there, because that's a whole different country. Look at it. You can tell. Think about it. Don't take your culture over there trying to change those people, because they're not going to do it, because it's not your country. Yes, not.
Centers that really only have a local tourism population, or it is just very rural local people, it will be very difficult if you have something pretty severe, like let's say an egg allergy, or if you're vegan. Heaven forbid if you're vegan, like it's going to be very difficult for you to travel China. I don't.
Yeah, they would like to eat meat. I mean, meat. I'm pretty sure they're the ones who eats the guinea pigs. Did you just throw up? Yeah, a guinea pig. The one you got in the cage back there behind you? Yeah. They eat everything. Yes. Yes. So don't go over there trying to say, hey, where is, because that's not what's going to be here. And if you're vegetarian, you're going to be hurting, because they cook a lot of meat. Meat, meat, meat.
I don't think I saw any really vegan options or vegan restaurants even in Guangzhou, so I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but you may have to just get groceries everywhere or get very basic things from a restaurant. So just wanted to put that out there for anybody who has those restrictions. China may be a difficult country for you to travel in that way. Now, number 11 will, I guess, apply to everybody, and it is just my personal opinion. You don't have to do this, which is to dress modestly. Having traveled around here for the last month, I really have not seen, people showing too much of their legs or, cleavage or anything. Most people do have long sleeves or at least a t-shirt and pants when they leave the house. Of course, if you're at the beach or some resort destination, I'm sure it's absolutely fine, but if you're walking down the street in Guangzhou, or especially here in a really, traditional place like Lijiang, you're really gonna look out of place if you're wearing a tank top or something and booty shorts. Like, in my opinion, it's not a good look. Now this...
It's not even a good look here in the United States, okay? You look like trash, all right? Dress up, get some clothes on. Jeez.
This is not just for the ladies, this is also the men, because in many countries I see guys walking around without a shirt or in some tiny little tank top. Absolutely, guys are, just as guilty of this. We stand out enough as it is as foreigners, and I think it is just more respectful if you kind of dress in a similar way to the locals. Now,
did you hear us use that word, respectful? You're going to someone else's country. Be respectful. Don't bring them booty shorts. Don't be throwing that all out there. They don't want to see you dancing down the street, grinding up against the poles and stuff. They don't want to see all that. That's not what they're about. Take that back to the United States and keep it there, because it's not like that in other countries.
Point number 12, I also feel is important to tell you guys, and maybe some of you already know, maybe some of you don't, but just expect that the majority of toilets in China will be squat toilets. For some of
Okay, let's get into that one, because I like that one. I've seen that before. I've seen some girls say something about squat toilets. Let me tell you, I think that's one of the most hilarious things, because it's like, are you for real? Well, they're squat toilets, but squatty potties, basically, okay? So, first of all, you might end up going into some place that says the bathroom's here, and you'll go in, and this is what you'll see. First of all, I already know what your face looks like. Because, no. How many are there? Five of them there. Yes, 5. And there's no wall between them. And when you go, somebody might be already using one. Please do not sit down on top of those. You see those little ridges on the side? Those little ridges? That means you stand, pull your pants down, past your knees, and squat, and do your business. Let's give you another little tip. There's no toilet paper. Some places don't have none. Make sure you keep that in your backpack too when you're walking around places, because you're probably going to need some toilet paper. Okay? Do you see any hanging off the walls in there? No. They might have some little washing tools, such as the ones they use for, a bidet. But that's what they use. Remember, this is a whole nother culture. This is a whole nother culture. This is not your culture. So don't go in there, all that crap. Or you can't go to the bathroom. What the heck you people doing? Don't be throwing that at them people. This is the way they live. You're not going over there to change them. If you're going somewhere to change somebody because you can't do it, you can't get along with it, get out of their country. Get out of their country. You don't belong there. That's what it looks like. Or you might get another one. They got a different one. Here's one. Okay, let's see what this one is. Wow, check that out. It's got a wall between you. You might get lucky and get a wall. Guess what? Do you see any toilet paper? No. Carry some toilet paper with you, people. Carry toilet paper with you. I'm just saying. Let's go back and see what she's finished saying about this.
of you, maybe that's fine, but as a Westerner, I'm not quite used to that. I don't love it, if I'm being honest. I know they say it's a healthier sort of way, but I just feel like if you had any sort of mobility issues, like let's say if you can't walk, let's say you're in a wheelchair, or if you're an older person, it really isn't.
Okay, please do not sit there and laugh at an old person falling down while they're going to the squatty potties. Do it now, get it over with. Don't go over the country, because you're going to get something. Okay, first of all, if you ever watch them in China, when they bend down on their knees, they can sit down on their butts with their legs folded behind them. I can't even do that, let alone get up from there. So it won't be them. It'll be another foreigner trying to squat, and we don't bend like that over here. Okay? Unless you did a lot of Pilates. But anyway. I think it's hilarious. I can't wait.
The most ideal setup. Of course, this is not the case in most regular hotels or fancy malls, and usually I'd say most restaurants will have at least a few stalls with a regular Western toilet. But even still, there have been enough circumstances on my travels in this month where it has been only squat toilets. So if you're somebody that has mobility issues or isn't used to that kind of, washroom experience, it may be a challenge, and you may have to kind of alter your route to make sure that you have access to a Western style of toilet. Now, number 13 is probably my biggest gripe and issue that I've had with traveling China, is that sometimes their attraction passes, like to get tickets to go to some of the most popular attractions, is so unnecessarily complicated. Like, sure, if you are just going to a smaller attraction like a temple or something, you can usually book your tickets at the entrance. You pay with Alipay, WeChat, no problem. But for all the big attractions, like let's say the Panda Center in Chengdu, and here in Lijiang, the Jade Dragon Snow Mountain, all of those need to be booked on WeChat, and you like sign up for the channel of that attraction. It's all in Chinese. There is no translation, and if, let's say, you didn't have WeChat signed up, you can't pay.
Yeah, well, expect to have problems. So there's no sense in getting all upset about a problem that you have in another country. You're in another country. If it doesn't go smooth, it's okay, because you're in another country. Everything that goes on here in the United States is not going to flow the same way it does over there. But to them, that's the way it works. And they can put up with it because they know that's how it works. Don't go over, getting all it, and looking like you need to go to anger management class again. And if you need to go to anger management, go before you go. Okay? You need to go to anger management before you get over there, all right? Because you're going to get angry if you're one of those people. Do not drive any cars over there, please, because you will be angry. Then they don't put up with that, okay? Just trying to let you know.
Pay with a credit card. WeChat is the only way that you can book a ticket. So for almost every single big attraction, I have had to ask a local for help, or to actually have them book it for me and then pay them through a transfer or something. And it's just so unnecessarily complicated. I really don't understand why they make it as difficult and limited as it is. And the issue is that a lot of times for super popular attractions like the Jade Mountain here in Lijiang, the tickets usually sell out the night before for the main cable car. So if you don't book them through the WeChat platform ahead of time, when you get there in person, there's usually no tickets for the big attraction. You will only have access to the little cable car, which isn't as good. So it really sucks. I really wish they would change that and at least make it like English friendly to book.
I'm okay with the little cable car, all right? It's still something I haven't seen, but don't go in there with no attitude. Don't go there taking your attitude. I'm serious. Do not go taking your attitude, because they don't need it.
A main attraction that I would think most tourists would like to visit when they're in China. And also, very important point, almost always you need to have your passport when you are going to these attractions. So make sure you have that on you. And last, but certainly not least, point number 14 that I feel you should know before traveling to China is that it is very safe. Honestly, as a solo female traveler, I have felt incredibly safe here. I have felt, very welcome, though a little bit stared at, by the locals, but overall I have felt very at ease here. Really not that much to worry about. Like, sure, you should still take the regular precautions of watching your things or not walking alone at night in a dark alley at 2 a.m. or something, and watching that somebody doesn't scam you or something. But overall, I really don't think most people have anything to worry about. And plus, there is, of course, cameras literally everywhere in all the bigger centers. So if something does happen, it will be recorded. And that is it, guys. That is.
And what she said there are cameras everywhere. They're going to be looking at you. They're going to know who you are, where you went. You're recorded everywhere. So as a foreigner, they done seen you everywhere. As soon as you pop up, it's gonna pop up foreigner. It's gonna pop up your name. It's gonna pop up where you're from. It's gonna pop up everything that was on your list when you flew over there. Okay? They gonna know who you are. And not to scare you about that, they know who every one of their people are. Whoever shows up on that camera. So don't go over there doing something dumb. Okay? Because some people over here think you can just do stuff. Let you just do it over here. Don't do it. If you think it's wrong, it's wrong. And go about it a different way. But don't do that. It's their country. It's a country that you want to go over and enjoy being in. You know, like they would like to come to the United States and enjoy being here, but our homicide rate is so bad till it's just awful. You can't go down the street without worrying about somebody hijacking you. You know, you can't worry about somebody trying to do something to you. As she said, she's over there as a solo female, and she feels safe. That's the differences between our country and other countries.
Is my list of 14 things that I hope will be helpful to you if you are thinking of coming to China for the first time. A very big thank you to Airlo for sponsoring today's video. I will have the link in the description as well as this QR code so you can easily sign up, and also my discount code so you guys can get $3 off. And yeah, this is my last video in China, guys. A little bit sad, but at the same time I know I will be back and there is just so much more to see. So I hope you have enjoyed my content so far. I would love to know your thoughts in the comments, and as always, I'm sending you so much love, and keep being your own kind of beautiful. Bye guys.
All right, that was so informative. So informative. Right now, you should not have a problem at all once you get all this stuff taken care of that she said to get taken care of and get to China. So, I'm going to search for another one because I want one. Where am I going to go next? Probably the Philippines. I want to know because I want to go to either one of these. I want to go to all the countries, okay? That's just it. I just want to go. You know, as old as I am, I have never had a chance to travel outside of the country. And a lot of you young people, you got that chance. Do it. But do it respectfully. All right? Thank you for coming to the channel. And I'd like to make sure you like, subscribe, and share, and leave a comment. Leave a comment on this because we're going to travel. Somebody's going to travel, and I can't wait to put that on YouTube when I travel. All right. I will see you later.